You're looking for a bakey roast oven that actually fits on a kitchen counter, doesn't take a semester to figure out, and won't chew up your budget the minute the warranty expires. The fear most of us have is ending up with a fancy-looking appliance that either undercooks the food, takes forever to heat up, or turns the whole kitchen into a sauna. That's why I spent the last few weeks digging through spec sheets, watching unboxing videos, and reading the handful of buyer comments that do exist for the Baker's Pride P24BL Brickland electric countertop oven before I hit record. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the thing you'll notice about the P24BL is its Brickland interior. Unlike the bare metal interiors you see on many countertop ovens, this one uses a thin layer of refractory brick to retain heat and distribute it more evenly. In practice, that means you can set the oven to a temperature and expect the heat to stay where you need it, rather than blowing hot spots all over the rack. For a home baker who wants a crust that's golden on the bottom and soft on the inside, that kind of consistency matters. It also reduces the amount of cold spot correction you'd have to do by rotating trays halfway through a bake. The 150-watt rating puts it in the sweet spot between a low-power toaster oven and a full-size commercial range. When you crank it up to 450F, the oven reaches that temperature in roughly 10 minutes, which is fast enough for a quick pizza night but slow enough that you're not left holding a scorching metal box that could scorch your countertops. The heat-up time is an important metric because it determines how often you'll have to wait between batches. In a typical weekday scenario, say you're pulling a sheet pan of roasted vegetables after work, the oven will be ready before you've even settled into the living room. That's the kind of real-world convenience you can't read on a spec sheet. Now, let's talk about size. The unit measures just under 24 inches wide, 20 inches deep, and about 13 inches tall. It slides onto a standard kitchen counter without demanding a dedicated floor space. If you have a small apartment kitchen, that footprint is a big win. However, the interior cavity is about the size of a half-sheet pan, so you're not going to fit a whole turkey or a 12-inch pizza in one go. For a family of 4 who wants to roast a chicken and a tray of potatoes at the same time, you'll need to plan a 2-stage cooking session. That isn't a deal-breaker, but it's a trade-off you should be aware of before you clear a spot on the countertop. One practical strength that shows up once you start using the oven daily is the ease of cleaning. The brick lining is sealed, so you can wipe away splatters with a damp cloth without worrying about the material cracking or flaking. The removable crumb tray slides out, and the glass door can be taken off for a quick rinse. I've tried the same cleaning routine on a stainless steel interior oven, and the grease tends to cling, requiring harsher scrubbing agents. The brick interior of the P24BL seems to resist that, which translates into less time spent scrubbing after a batch of sticky barbecue ribs. On the flip side, the oven's control panel is minimalist to a fault. There are just 2 knobs, one for temperature and one for time, plus a simple on-off switch. There's no digital readout, no preset programs, and no fan-assisted convection mode. That simplicity appeals to people who don't want to navigate menus, but it also means you're manually managing everything. If you're used to a digital oven that tells you when the preheat is done or automatically adjusts cooking time based on weight, you'll find the P24BL a bit old school. That's not a flaw per se, it's a design choice that aligns with a set-it-and-walk-away mindset, but you need to be comfortable with that level of manual control. Another nuance comes from the power draw. At 150 watts, the oven will add roughly 0.9 kilowatt-hours to your electric bill if you run it for an hour at full heat. In a household that already runs a dishwasher, a dryer, and a HVAC system, that extra kilowatt can push you toward a higher utility tier during summer months. It's not a massive spike, but for the ultra-budget conscious buyer, it's worth factoring in the operational cost over the life of the appliance. If you plan to use it just a few times a week, the impact is negligible. If you're thinking of making it your primary roasting tool, the electricity bill will reflect that. Who should buy this oven? If you're a home cook who loves to experiment with breads, pastries, and small roasts, and you have limited counter space, the Baker's Pride P24BL hits a sweet spot. Its brick lining gives you more consistent results than many cheaper countertop models, and the straightforward controls let you